what we're going to do now is first save this family, and then we're going to load it again into another family. So we're going to nest it again. I'm going to go save as family and save it as chair array. And before I load it into the other family, there are two things that I need to adjust. Now, if I take this and I move it a little bit, you'll see here that we have a problem in that these chairs start overlapping. Now, what's happening here is currently the length of 36 is being divided by that 950. So if we look at that, we have 3600 divided by 950, which gives us 3.78. Now, that is automatically rounded up to 4 because this is of type integer. Now, integer can't be a decimal. So when it gets a decimal, it automatically rounds it to the nearest number, and obviously because it's 3.7, it goes to 4. So what we need to do is make sure that when it rounds it, it will round it down. And Revit has a built-in function for that called round down. So I'm basically putting my whole equation here, or calculation, in brackets, and I'm rounding it down. So if I say apply, you'll see now that automatically changes to 3. The next thing I need to do is to make sure that when I load this into the other family and it is adjusted, the adjustment will go to both sides and not just to the one side, because currently this is the center point and all of the chairs are added towards this side. We're going to do this as a boardroom table, so I want to link it to the middle of the table, and as the boardroom table increases, I need these to move with it. So to do that, I'm going to create a reference plane right in the middle here. I'm going to constrain it to be equal, and then I'm going to choose this reference plane, and this is a very important part. I'm going to specify that this reference plane defines the origin of this family. Once that is done, I'm going to create a new family, and again I'm going to use the furniture, metric furniture template, and I'm going to go back to the other family and then load it into this one. So going to the chair array, load into project, family 5, and OK. Now, if you find that you can't place it like this, if you use a little cross through circle, it means currently it's set to be placed on a face. Now, because we don't have any objects in here with faces that we can place it on, I need to specify that it gets placed on a work plane. So once I click that, I'll be able to click, and as I move the cursor, you can see our array gets created and those chairs are created as I go along. And this point here is our center. That's the reference plane, that's the origin from the previous setting. The other thing that I need to do is to link the length of this to the length of my table. Now currently, if you scroll down here, you'll see that we have these parameters available to us, but that the length is grayed out. We'll get back to that now. So before I change this, I'm going to create the scaffolding that will eventually make up the table. So again, I'm going to use a reference plane. Create them like this, across like that. And I'm going to use my parameters to constrain them to be equal. And then also give both of them an overall parameter that will drive the actual size. Selecting this one, it's going to be parameter table width. And this one is going to be table length. Let's quickly test it. Okay, we can see it updated. It keeps the equal distance, so I'm happy with this. Now I need to link the length of my array to this parameter here, which is the table length. Currently, if I select this, as I said, we can't select the length because it's grayed out. That is something we need to change in the actual family. So I'm going to go back to the family. And if we look at the parameters here, we'll see these ones that say default cannot be chosen in the other family. So what I need to do is create another parameter that will drive this one, but that will be available to the user. So I'm going to add a parameter. I'm going to call this array length. Instance, it's of type length, group it under dimensions, happy with that, and okay. And then I'm going to say, let's just give this one a value. Array length is going to drive this one. So as of now, length equals array length. To test it, let's update this one. Apply. You can see that one updates, and my number of chairs also updates. Again, I'm going to load this into my family. It's going to ask, do you want to override the existing one? I go, yes. And it updates. What happens now is, as I select this and I scroll down, you'll see array length is now not grayed out. It's available to me. So I can click on this button and I can choose to associate it with the existing table length parameter that I created earlier. You can see it automatically updates like that. Now I'm going to create a mirror of this. So I'm going to mirror it around the center line. And again, I need to just test it. So let's make it 5500. And we can see it updated on both sides. Now there's one problem here. If I change the width of this table, you see that my chairs stay where they are. So I need to link these to these reference planes. Bring these ones closer. And again, I'm going to do that with a dimension. So I'm selecting the dimension and locking it to this reference plane here. Selecting this one. Locking that as well. Let's just test this. Changing the width. Let's move this out of the way. You can see it's moving with that. Test that one. Okay, and they're working. Now I can go ahead and just create the lines that will make up the table. Annotate. Symbolic line. I'm just going to use a rectangle. I'm going to lock it to those lines. And again, flex it. Just test the width. Let's make it 3 meters. Apply. Okay, and there it updates. Okay, now let's see how this behaves if I load it into a project. So new project. Let's just save it. load into project. I want it into this one. And there we go. Let's put it down. Let's grab those points. And you can see it updates as I drag it. Perfect.